On the early morning of Sunday, November 13th, 2022, 4 young lives, Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Madison Mogan, were taken in an unspeakable act of violence. The suspect, alleged to be Brian Kohberger, has been linked to this horrific crime. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with the details, but for those who aren't, I encourage you to check out a video by That Chapter, which provides an in-depth look at the entire case. I will leave a link in the description. This video will not focus on the details of the case or the individuals involved. Instead, I will concentrate on a 20-minute timeline derived from information released by authorities, outlining Kohberger's arrival at the victim's house, the commission of the crime, and his subsequent departure. Before we dive into the 20-minute timeline, let's take a moment to understand the events leading up to that point. After a night out on Saturday, the 4 victims returned home at different times. By 3:30 a.m., it is reported that all of them were safely inside their home for the night. Xana Kernodle placed an order for food to be delivered by DoorDash, and at the same time, Kohberger's car was allegedly seen driving past the house 3 times over the next half hour. One of the first details shared by authorities was that Xana Kernodle answered the door for a DoorDash delivery at 4 a.m. Once she received her food, she likely headed back to her room to enjoy her meal and unwind for the night. Little did anyone know that in less than 20 minutes, she would be fighting for her life. Kohberger made one final pass by the house at 4:04 a.m. After struggling to park, he drove to a nearby apartment complex to perform a 3-point turn before driving back to his intended location. Let's assume that it took him 2 minutes to get turned around, parked, and ready to exit his vehicle. If so, it would now be 4:06 a.m. It is likely it would take him at least 1 minute to step out of his vehicle and walk towards the house. You would also think that he would take another minute assessing the situation before entering. If we take this into account, we arrive at a time of 4:08 a.m. Now let's fast forward to 4:17 a.m. Based on the affidavit, a nearby security camera recorded sounds of whimpering, followed by a loud thud and a dog barking. This dog is believed to be Murphy, Kaylee Gonsalves' pet. Fortunately, Murphy was found unharmed the next day. According to police, at 4:20 a.m., just 3 minutes later, the suspect's vehicle was reportedly seen speeding away from the King Road location at a high rate of speed, taking Walenta Drive out of the neighborhood. This timeline allows just 9 minutes for the suspect to commit 4 homicides across 2 different levels of the house, with one victim believed to have fought back, as indicated by defensive wounds. Additionally, the affidavit reveals that Kernodle's phone records show she was active on TikTok around 4:12 a.m. It's unclear whether active means she was scrolling through the app or if her phone was simply open to TikTok. Regardless, this timeline highlights just how quickly Kohberger was able to enter and exit the house, taking 4 lives in an incredibly brief period. In closing, I encourage you to reflect on this topic, as it certainly warrants further discussion. Rest assured, when more evidence emerges, I will provide updates in another video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep up with future updates, please hit that like button and consider subscribing.